Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're looking at a Marui recoil, this being the MP5 NGRS. On the back of working on Mustangs, I got another request to build another one. So there's parts to put in this. There's a spring, a hot rubber and barrel, much like we did on Mustangs, and then a gear set as well to put in there too. Not really too sure post edit what this video is going to be. I could post both videos, so I could do a quick time lapse for those that don't really have the time to spend a ton of time sitting watching my videos. So we could do a quick time lapse. I'll talk about it at the end, and then if it's wanted, what I'll do is I'll release the full video up on the YouTube channel if that's what you guys want. So if you're watching this video and I have done it that way, just put down in the comments down below that you want me to upload the full video, and I'll do that, of course. But let's get started on this thing. These come apart pretty straightforward. It's a little bit different compared to the SD that we did not long ago, but I'm sure it's just these two screws. Front end will come off, and then we can pull the gearbox to such out with that pin that sits hidden in there. So what we can do first, let's pop that pin out. Extract that. And then we'll remove these two screws in the front of the receiver. So we need a Phillips. There's probably not going to be as much talking. You know, if you've requested it, I really don't know how this is going to go, but if you've requested it and this is now the full upload of this build, there's probably not going to be an insane amount of talking, but I'm going to run you through the process here of how we pull this thing apart and upgrade it. These guns do shoot superbly well. You know, his spring is probably going to be for, you know, help with heavier BBs, barrel and hop consistency and accuracy. But these guns perform really well out of the box. So don't feel like you have to do this. But if you're like me and many other airsofters, you know that you're going to buy something, you're going to chuck upgrade parts in it anyway. So loosening them two screws, the front assembly comes off here. And then I'm pretty sure this all comes out the back in one piece, so we'll pop this pin out. And then this should, yeah, slide out, there we go. Pretty straightforward, you know. If you're doing your hop and barrel, yeah, you've got to take it. It's not a quick, easy thing to take the upper receiver off like on their M4s and such. But it's also not a horrendous pain in the backside to do it. You're not going to be doing it on the field. But let's get this off here. There we go. Set that to one side. It's fairly straightforward. So in terms of the NGRS, I've never been requested to pull the gearbox apart before. It's probably going to be a bit straightforward and similar to others, but I imagine there will be some differences just with the recoil system. So we'll see how we go. And there's probably going to be someone in their comments going, well, you don't take it apart like that. Well, again, learn as we do it. I suppose what we should do first is pull the motor out. 2.5mm Allen key. So we've got this build to do. We've got an SGR12. Let's find the correct. These terminals are screwed on. Nice way, especially with a recoil, to stop them coming loose. Is that a slide-on fitment? Yes, it is. Which is nice. One of the good things that GMP did with their guns was fitting terminals like this. It just meant you never had a motor connector come off. So, excuse me. Let's pull these screws out the bottom here. Yeah, every brand does it differently. With Marui, it tends to be pretty straightforward, but we will give it a go. So I'm not sure how the selectors will move during this. It feels like pushing the trigger like releases something. Yeah, there we go. So you have to press the trigger to push it out the way. Not super obvious, but it was just pulling it, and I felt the selector move and pushing the trigger. So now, hopefully, we should be able to pull this out. There we go. Tokyo Marui with the ingenuity. God, this looks beefed up to hell, this does. We've got electronic MOSFETs with magnets. Very well put together. They do a very good job, Marui. So we need to get all this system off. How are we going to do that? So it's on these pins. We have to pop those pins off. I would think so. So that might be a bit of a pain. C-clip, that should pull out there. It's got a spring on there, so be careful of that. Slide that off the front. Got the recoil weight system, which has got a gear, so it's like cammed. Very cool design. Will I be able to pull that out? Probably not. Okay, let's remove this one. Oh, that comes off pretty easy. Got another little clip in there. We can probably leave that there, I think. I don't think it's going to foul anything. What would be nice is if we remove these screws and the whole electronic board comes out. That would be ideal. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. Holding you on. There's one on the bottom there as well. Oh, shaky hands. Pull that one out as well. So 4 of those little screws. I'm hoping It's nice that, you know, a company like Marui is, you know, fitting MOSFETs. You don't have to go and buy one, it's just already installed. That'll pop off there. I'm wondering if we can pop that back onto the board to protect it. It looks like we didn't need to remove that one screw, which would keep all that together. There we go, electronics out of the way. Very beefy, this gearbox. There we go. Back piece off. Pull this section back. Release that screw maybe. It's not even tight, that screw. Lift that screw. Yep, there we go. That comes off. We'll pop that screw back in. Just so we don't lose it. That comes off from there. We can pull those two spacers off. Slide the front weight out. And there we go. Got there in the end. Very interesting cam system on this. It's very cool indeed. Right, we got down to the gearbox. So Torx 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Torx screws. And we have to watch that the spring don't jump out at us. So T10. Let's do these in order. 1, 2, 3. Let's tilt you down a little bit. 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to put something in the back of the gearbox to hold the spring guide in place. And then we're going to gently lift the casing up. While holding downward pressure on that spring. So I think it's holding the gears in the bushings. Let's pop the gears out. Like that. And there we go. Casing is lifted. Little space has dropped out there. I think that was from in here. Nice that they've got rid of the system of attaching the pistons to the springs. Makes you know, us techs' lives a lot easier because we don't have to take the piston apart. Looks like we have a normal NGRS style gear set here. So let's pull everything out. Let's get the Prometheus gear set. These aren't cheap at all. Usually in the region of anywhere between 80 to 100 pounds I've seen them go for. Nice packaging, as always, from Prometheus and Malax. These gears feel really, really nice. So what we'll do, we'll take the original shims off the gears, we'll fit them to the new ones, as a baseline, and then we can see if we need to change any. Come on, little shimp, there we go. This gun looks pretty much brand new. No anti-reversal latch. Not that I can see anyway. Nice and simple, and those actually spin really nice. The cut-off lever has a magnet on it, so this seems to be a thing that companies are going to now, using magnets instead of latches and switches. It does make the part a lot more resilient. You know, there's nothing to wear on it. It's not grinding up another piece or face. Screw's going to fall out there. Let's pop this together. Gears actually spin really nice, so we might not have to do any shimming here. The gears aren't moving at all. There's a perfect amount of space, and that to me is how you build a gear set. So kudos to Prometheus. You can literally just use the factory shims, because I imagine the gears are very close to the dimensions of the standard ones. And that is what we want. We want a nice, easy to install upgrade part. So that nuts off the spring guide there. I'm going to take this spring off. And we've got an upgrade spring here to fit. I'm not sure what spring this is. Maybe like an Eagle 6 spring or something. And we can start putting this thing back together. Super, super easy. So we don't have to worry about that spring yet, because we can put it in afterwards. Let's test the compression. Compression is brilliant. Like I say, this looks pretty much brand spanking new. So it's all nicely greased. We ain't got to panic too much about that. Pop the new spring in, sit that in place there, and we're going to hold that down with our Allen driver. Pop the casing back together. Oh, actually, no, before we do that, we need to grease the new gears, don't we? Almost forgot. So before we go ahead and do that, let's I've pulled the thing out there. We need to grease the gears. Release the tension on the spring there, using none other than the Jaeger 1 pen. This is predominantly the only thing I use now, unless I need to use something lighter like oil. Put a little bit of grease on these gears. I'll lift this out. Even though how much I promote these pens on the channel, I still get people asking what they are. You can get these on the Jaeger Precision website. And It's really dead simple. It's got a little brush on there, and you twist the end cap to dispense the grease on the brush. When you've used it all, just a couple of clicks, apply some more there. Lightly grease those gears up. And we're going to apply it around these teeth as well. So not too much, just enough to correctly grease the gears up. Those teeth interface as well, so we'll put a little bit on there. And of course we'll do the top spindles. Available in the small and the extra large versions on the website. So pick up back where we left off. So a nice little happy mistake there into a plug for one of my products. It's just the main way. I mean, YouTube these days, having gone from a bigger channel to a smaller channel now and trying to build this up again, with what we do, anything related to airsoft, YouTube loves to demonetize. So, you know, nothing's earned from the YouTube channel at all, or it's very minimal. So if you want to support the channel and get yourself a cool product in the process, because you're not just paying something for nothing, there's the Jaeger 1 pens, the grease pens, very popular on the website. You can get yourself a load of other little random bits and bobs on the website too. Most importantly, the Jaeger DT nub for the Silverback NGRS and the Titan nub for the MWS platform. We'll also have the AKM valves dropping soon. That's back together. Flip it over. We can pop the tappet plate spring in. Always great when companies do this. Right, we'll push this through. Ooh. Put that little bumper on. And the spacer. And then we can slide this over. We'll clock that wheel all the way back. We do need to pop that screw out. That screw works as a guide. So we'll pop it back into its rearward position. Like so. That looks good to me. Screw can go back on. We can slide this piece back in like that. We can pop the electronic package back in, making sure we don't foul anything. 3 tiny screws. Hold that in. wires back into place. Make sure they're seated. Put this piece back on. No idea what the name are for any of these pieces, but I imagine this is the cut-off. Or something to do with the cut-off even. Or maybe not. Maybe it's to charge it when you charge a gun to continue firing. So that's on. We need this piece back in place. That sits on there. This needs to be fed on from the front. Don't know what's going on outside, whether it's thunder or it's someone messing about. That bar goes all the way through there. This will be the tricky bit, putting this little clip back on. I really don't like these clips. They're very easy to lose. There we go, it's back on. Gears in, spring in. Now we just need to do the hop and the barrel. So we can pull this apart pretty easy. Pull that clip out. These do tend to be quite tight. The rubber just does not want to come out, so I'm just going to pull it. Need that little brass ring. I think we also need this O-ring. Pop the O-ring off. And another wipe. Hot rubber. Lilacs barrel. O-ring goes on there. Put the brass ring on this side. And then the rubber. Like so. Make sure everything's in place in the barrel. Push the barrel assembly in. Take the little clip. Push that in. Push the brass piece in. And then check that it's straight. It looks straight to me. Turn the hop off now. Put the spring back on the front. I'm going to flip this back around. Before we put the hop and the barrel in, we're going to put the lower back on. Lower goes on, situate that down, push the selector back in, that lines up with that pin. Clicks back into place, put it to semi, safe even, semi, that's safe, trigger's stuck. So such a good system when you know how it goes together. Let's get these, they're so intuitive with how they do things. you ever see someone online talking crap about Marui, calling people Marui fanboys and my Cyma this and my Jingong that, they don't have the knowledge to appreciate what Marui do. And in comparison, it's almost, I always compare it to, I find it quite funny. It'd be like saying, right, I've just gone and bought a Nissan GTR. And then someone in the comments going, well, my Fiat Punto has got 4 wheels and drives down the road perfectly fine. It's like the same thing. It's not the same thing. But let's not get into that rant today, shall we? We're going to make sure these wires are in the right place. We need to go under, I think we want them, don't we? Was it that way or was it the other way? Just doing it the way that makes sense to me. Come on. Oh, of course you drop down. Yeah, it's clear as the wires anyway. That's good. Hex screws on the bottom, very nice. Getting rid of the old Phillips screws on the bottom, which are a nightmare. These are far superior. That's back together. So we've got the barrel. Need to squeeze that into place like so. Route the wires. Push the connector straight because we need to push it through the receiver. Pull this connector through. Take that pin in, push this pin in, let's get the barrel on. Of course the screws want to fall out. The more I work on these, the more I want one. But I really don't need another gun. Or do I? Front end's back on. Let's pop the stock on. Pin in. Do I have a battery? Just plug in the battery. Got a safe, semi. Won't fire, charge it. Yep. Right, got some rounds loaded in it. We need Allen key to adjust the motor. Sounds good. Job done. Yeah, there probably is a way to dry fire these things, but I don't know how to do it. And by the time I've figured that out, you know, I could have had it done like so. So, all done. Get this thing back together. Do we put that lead underneath instead? Pop the front pin in. And this job is good to go. That's been upgrading this NGRS MP5 low next gear set, upgrade spring, Lilacs, barrel and hot rubber. This is now ready to go back to the customer. These things are really cool, very rigid indeed. I can't decide now whether I like this or the SD. I'm probably a bit more of an SD fan, but we'll get this back packaged up. I'll let him know that it's ready to be collected, and on to the next job. We've got some bits and pieces coming up. We need to build the SLR PDW. Super excited to build that, as well as we've got a Marui SGR12 from a friend of mine. I know it's going to be a fairly big job, so we'll get that seen to as well now these other jobs are out of the way. And yeah, we'll get cracking. So thanks for tuning into this long video. If you watch the first video, it'll be time-lapsed, so you won't have had the pain of the 50-odd minute video that it was. If you haven't, and you're watching the second video, which I'll post up after if it's wanted for the full version, thanks for keeping track through the video. Thanks for watching, supporting the channel, and from me and Bench, we'll see you in the next one.